Hello and welcome back to my Canadian short story series where I read Canadian short stories that were curated by Kevin Hardcastle, 73 short stories, Canadian short stories to read while you're sheltering in the pandemic. Yeah, so I've kind of collected together stories and the stories that he recommended and have been kind of working my way through them. Today I'm doing After While by Shrt Dmln. She is the author of the Marrow Thieves, which won, I think it's the Governor General's Award for young adult fiction. Definitely gotten a lot of kind of play as kind of a post-apocalyptic novel of a native boy kind of running away from, I think it's residential school recruiters or children snatchers or something like that. I have not read the book. I just read this short story, and I think after reading this short story, I would probably give it a try. Because I this is a pretty short little, very slice of life short story. Let's get into it. Spoilers ahead. I guess if you take those things, you can find this story on the CBC's website's thing. If you look it up online, just put in Shrt Dmln and her and After While, and it should come up. So yeah, this is a story about Lucky, who is sitting in her bedroom with her what turns out to be her mum, Anya, who is and she's sort of, I guess, her mother's hanging out with her. They're she's talking about she thinks about the first time she lost a tooth, and the first time that Lucky lost a tooth, she found a bowling trophy shoved underneath her or her pillow, and the second time, apparently that one was a dud, but then a couple weeks later she found a roll of pennies in a baggie with a little note scrawled on back of a cigarette pack saying, "Sorry, I'm shitty at deadlines." So you kind of get an idea of what her life. You kind of learn just very organically throughout the story, that she's actually living with her grandma Stella, but that her mom kind of drops by every once in a while. And this seems to be one of the times that her mom's dropped by, and her mom's like, "Why do you collect all these magazines? You're like in the first grade." It's like, and she's like, "Actually, I'm in the third grade." And he's like, "Yeah, and I like them because I like the pictures, and I also like collecting words." And she's like, "Why can't you collect dolls or something normal like that?" Her mom seems to have kind of crimson lipstick, is got high heel boots, which she is using some black nail polish from, like, I guess, a Halloween thing to paint over a crack on her heel. So there's mentions of her many boyfriends and stuff like that. And it's just like she only gets to see her, she only gets to see her every once in a while. It's the Christmas. Basically, she said she refers to one boyfriend as the Christmas years, because the only time she would see her mom would be kind of during Christmas. So it's got all this stuff of, and her mom is a magician. Lucky thinks is like her mom is a magician who just like seems to always be kind of scrambling. It takes a lot of time to be a magician, kind of always trying to get stuff, conjure stuff up. Though not so much for herself. She's the weird gifts that she gets from her mom seem to be like, just kind of random guesses, because she's so not connected to in her life. And indeed, at the end, she's like, her mom's lighting up a cigarette, and she's like, it's like, "Oh, you shouldn't smoke in here, Mom. It's like that window doesn't open." And she points to the window, and Mom's like, "Oh yeah, well, I got to get going anyway." And Lucky immediately feels guilty about this, and it's like it's a kind of the great thing of the kid is feeling guilty about this. And in the end, it's like, I got to go see a man about a horse. Is her reply, is like, "Please stay." I got to go see a man about a horse. It's like, I don't know exactly how much you care about this little girl. Maybe enough that you keep on coming back. It's hard to say. And the final line is, "In a while, see you later, alligator." And and that's sort of the end of the story. And I was like, thinking about this story, because it's like it's very much a slice of life. Like, what do you say about it other than it's really well evokes this little kid's life within this small kind of little slice of just mom hanging out in a bedroom with her and then leaving. And it really kind of evokes like, oh, this is what this little kid's life is. This is what her mother's life is like. And it's funny because I was looking like, the title, it's like after a while. This is again an illustration of exactly how poor of a reader I am. Like, after a while, what does that mean? After a while. And I'm like going back through the very little short stories, like, what does after a while mean? And it's like, I have no idea. Then it's like, oh, see you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. Now, to my defense, it should be, maybe this, I'm thinking, oh, the story should be in a while, but it's like, it's after a while, crocodile. It's like, there's definitely a thing of like, it's like in a while, crocodile. It's like that would show a little bit of functioning. Like, it would be like, oh, it's going to be in a while, crocodile. It's like, it'll be quick. But this is like after a while. It's like it's like there's that whole, you never know if the mother is just going to go and is just going to disappear. And I mean, I don't know if it's particularly anything in the story indicates that the character is native, but I do think about that. Regardless of whether the character is native or not, it's like I start thinking, it's like, is the mother like, hard scrabble enough, possibly an addict, possibly a sex worker who's, basically in really dangerous thing. And if she is native, she is super, super dangerous, and is one of the people in Canada that disappears and nobody gives a shit about, which is why we have a whole thing of the murdered and missing women thing. And that's native murdered and missing women who are they're women and they're native, and if they're, the assumption is, oh, you're also going to be a prostitute, oh, you're going to be a drug addict. This is the part of society we just don't give a shit about, and our police force follows the line of the rest of a Canadian culture in that, and that this could be, after a while, it's like, this could be that might be it. That, you mean, she may be back tomorrow, she might be back never. And you can kind of feel that in the story, that doesn't shove that at you and doesn't tell you that's what's happening, but leaves you to just sort of kind of conjure that up on your own after you slowly and dully go, oh, see you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. Oh. See, this is the thing that poor authors have to put up with, as readers like myself. So yeah, those are my thoughts, my recitation, I guess, of the story After a While by Dmln. And I'll be back at some point with another story. All right, more videos later.